black and white picture called Mutiny on the Bounty. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that. But it's a group of people that got stranded in the ocean on a boat. It was like 30 of them, limited food, limited water. And one guy has a gun. He makes the decision to throw people over the boat so that he can save the other people so that they can get ashore. Consequently, when they get ashore, he's prosecuted under the law. So I just wanted you to elaborate on whether or not that was fair to that man making decisions out on the water.
Well, that's a very dramatic movie, and the book that is based on. And you see the dramatic tension of the movie is the difference between ordinary life as it's lived by people and very special extreme circumstances that occurred on that ship. You see, so the context, I guess we don't have it up there, but on one of those points, you had structure and context in which dialogue occurs or that a particular work has to be done, and that has to be taken into consideration. It's actually not fair from a philosophical point of view not to take into consideration the context in which a decision is made. Because under certain circumstances, things look a certain way and they mean certain things, and so the decision is guided by that. When you step outside of those circumstances, it might be a whole nother thing. So, but that's what makes the movie interesting, is because under extreme conditions, people do things that they otherwise would not do. And then the difficulty becomes, how do you translate what was done under those extreme conditions to people who don't know anything about conditions like that? Okay? Yes, ma'am.
I'd just like to know your opinion. We have ministry meetings here on Thursday for all the ministries. And I'd like to just hear from you what your opinion would be for us to start a process of events, for us to plan events, for us to put on events without having not only just full knowledge of dialogue, but some of the basics that you're teaching us with dialogue. I personally don't think it would be effective, but it's not about me personally. I want to ask you, what do you think about that?
Okay, thank you. Well, this whole thing, I'm sorry to turn my back. I shouldn't have done that. This whole thing, this whole class on deliberative dialogue, followed by some classes on management, is to prepare us to do ministry work. I know all over the country there are people who are interested in this ministry or that ministry. The reality of it is we're not right now qualified to do that work. It might be better, instead of saying the ministry of this or ministry of that, why don't you say you have a little committee that's doing some work in that area? Because really, we don't live up to that great name, ministry, by the level at which we're currently operating. Let me give you a personal example. I was blessed to go twice with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on his World Friendship Tours. Went around the world twice. And I had a pocket full of business cards that said, Nation of Islam, Ministry of Health and Human Services, with my name and address on it. So guess what I found on my desk when I got back home from the World Friendship Tour? Big stacks of mail from Liberia and Zimbabwe and all these countries where we had visited, and I had been dropping my cards. And in these countries, what does it sound like when someone says that they are the Minister of Health and Human Services of a nation? So when I opened up the letters, they were saying, could you please send us a shipload of medicine, and we need syringes, and we need bandages, and we need a hospital, and send some doctors and send some nurses? Because the implication of the name is that this reality exists, when in fact, I didn't have a Band-Aid to send. So then I stopped distributing those cards. This said Minister of Health and Human Services. And when someone speaks up in an assembly like this, aren't you the Minister of Health? Shh. Shh. Don't say that. Because you're engendering expectations in people that cannot be met. We've got a whole lot of developing to do before we actually have a Ministry of Health and Human Services, a Ministry of Arts and Culture, a Ministry of Agriculture. So we're in a process of qualification. And the first part of that process is just being able to confront one another and talk with one another to find out who we are. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that we needed the knowledge of self. So yeah, he gave us the student enrollment, who is the original man, and we memorized that. But then in a lecture one time he said, but this present day black man is not a good example of the original man. So we need deliberative dialogue and management so we can become better and better and better and better examples of what the original people are supposed to be like. Makers, owners, cream of the planet Earth, gods of the universe. So this is a pathway for developing it. So yes, you have your meetings, and there's meetings taking place all over the country, and we just need to build up our skills so that at a certain point in time in the future, then when we meet, we really will be ministries. And we can have a dialogue between ministries, and the dialogue that will occur between fully developed and organized ministries, that dialogue between these ministries will be the dialogue of government of a free and independent people. So I think we'll take one more question and then we got to go.
Assalamu alaikum. I just wanted to ask a question regarding the 8 steps of atonement. In thinking about it, the process, the useful dialogue, will this come in time? And this is what I have in my mind, where I perceive that, for an example, I'll just use me as an example, or situations where I have seen believers, mistreated. Will there be an atonement class, for an example? Let's say, for an example, if I see Dr. Aleem, just to make it real short to the point so you can understand what I'm saying, if I see Dr. Aleem being mistreated or disrespected, and he might not be able in a situation to really defend himself or speak up for himself, and I might say, or I write a report and saying, talk about the incident, and could him as the offended person and the offender be referred to the atonement class, and they just talk about the situation? You understand what I'm saying? Where that...
I'll try to facilitate. Well, let's look at it this way, brother. See, do you have children? Okay. Well, any parents in the room? Okay. Those of us who are parents, and even though you may not be a parent, you'll understand what I'm saying. What happens when something goes wrong among the children? What do they actually do? They come and tell you, Mommy, he took my whatever. Why do they run and get you? Because they're immature and they don't know how to represent themselves. They don't know how to defend themselves. And so everything got to go through the parent, through the mother, through the father. At a certain age, that running to get mommy, running to get daddy gives way to a more mature handling of their own affairs. They know how to speak up for themselves. They know how to defend themselves. They even learn how to fight. So then the things that need official attention are only the things that are really serious. So we've been like a nation of babies, with all due respects to everybody, where little trivial things happen between people and somebody goes running to tell what somebody did to me. Because why? Because they can't confront, number one. Wait a minute. What did you do? What did you say? Well, that's not correct, brother. Here, you and me, let's sit down over coffee here and let's discuss this and get this straightened out. Oh, you said that he said, brother, this sister said that you said, you come over here, and now we're going to have a three-way dialogue. Now you tell him what you told me. See, now here's a mischief maker telling lies among the righteous, getting straightened out. It don't have to go to the captain. It don't have to go to the minister. These are believers who understand who they are and what they are, and they know how to take care of their own business. So then the things that need to go to some official hearing, these become, the high crimes and misdemeanors that can take place in any society. And for that, you have a ministry of justice that is an independent arm of your government. And then you have some kind of fair system for hearing charges and adjudicating those charges and determining the guilt or innocence of those charges. But these aren't trivial things. 99% of the complaints that we have among one another, just really trivial things that mature people would handle themselves. It wouldn't even come to the notice of any official. So I thank you for those questions. I thank you for this opportunity. I'm enjoying myself, and I hope you are too, around the country. Next week, we're going to have our fourth and final deliberative dialogue class, and I can't remember the exact title, but it's something like During the Fall of America, we have to engineer our rise. And deliberative dialogue is one of the tools that we will use to engineer our rise. And we will try to increase the interactive nature of the session next week, and we want to actually have a live in-person demonstration of a deliberative dialogue session. So I thank you. May Allah bless us with the light of understanding. Assalamu alaikum.
Let us give Dr. Brother Ali Muhammad another round of applause, please. Brother is working so tirelessly that each week as he flies in and out of Chicago to assist us across the nation. One more time, let us give Brother Ali. Let us assume the position of prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise belongs to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Master this day of judgment in which we now live. Thee alone do we serve, and Thee alone do we beseech for Thine aid. O Allah, guide us on the right path, the path of those upon whom Thou hast bestowed favors, not the path of those upon whom Thy wrath has been brought down, nor of those who go astray after hearing Thy teachings. Ameen. May Allah bless each and every one of you. Have a safe trip home. Greet your brother and sister before you leave. Assalamu alaikum.